How to make a histogram using Excel and a online site. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to do height. And if you look at the data, it's not in a nice order that's going to help me make a histogram. So I'm going to highlight that cell or that row column. And then if I go over here, I have an option somewhere on your Excel or whatever you're using for a spreadsheet. You should have something that'll sort it. And I want it in ascending order. I'm going to expand to the entire selection so it does everything. And as you see, now all my numbers are all lined up. So now when I'm making a histogram, I need to actually decide on my bins, like what are my bin widths. And if I look, well, 137 and ooh, there's a 550 out here, but the rest of them aren't too bad. So I'm going to choose, and this is all based on choice, 135 to 145 for my first bin. 145 to 155 for my second. 155 to 165. 165 to 175. And 175 to 185. 185 to 195. 195 to 205. Now, I'm just going to put the other one. I'm going to make up since that's 550. I'm just going to go 545 to 555. So that person, whoever it is extremely tall, it looks like. So I don't want to put all these other ones in just because I don't want to type forever. But normally they would go all the way down, and this one would be way down there. So now I look and I go between 135 and 145. Looks like I have 1. So I put a 1. How many? So frequency, how many? How many are between 145 and 155? 1 again. So I put a 1. How many people are between 155 and 165? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, and that one's right at 165. Well, how about if I count this one and then 165 doesn't count in the other one? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So since I'm counting, the top number is always included in this bin. So if I was between these two, the 175 is included in this bin, but the 165 is not. It's just a way to show that it just goes in between. So now between 165 and 175, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. And between 175 and 185, I have 1, 2. And don't have any here, so I could put a 0 and a 0. And I have one way out here, someone who's extremely tall. All right, so now I'm going to highlight these. And I'm just going to go to my chart tool and I'm going to make a column chart. Click it. I'll just do a regular clustered column. I know you didn't see that, but you make a regular column and you can see there's my chart. But that's not a true histogram because there's gaps here. A histogram, there is really no gaps between your bins. So if I think I can just double click on mine, and then there's options here, and you got to look for it on yours, but you look for gap width, and you'll see I really want this gap width 0, so I don't want to go down forever. And see how it made the gap width 0? Done. There's my histogram. And you can see that it's kind of approximately normal except for this huge outlier. I'd actually even maybe say it's skewed left a little bit. Here's the peak, so most people are between 165 and 175 according to how I made my bins. Big gap right here, one mode. Now I'm going to show you a website that'll do this for you too. And I think the website's a little bit easier. So if I highlight all of these, and then I'll just right click, copy, then I'll go to the website, and I'll just put in my data. And if I go over here and clear the data, want to clear it, yeah. Then I go in here, and I'm going to just do, I'm on an Apple, so I go Open Apple V, but you can go Control V. And there it puts in my data for me. Now I'll update the data. Now, see how it's a little different? That looks kind of weird, but we made our bins, what, 10? So I'm going to put 10 in there, and then I update interval. And there it makes the histogram for you. Now look at it. See how it's the same shape that we had before, but there's now, since they put all these extra numbers in there, you can see that person that's 550 is way taller than everybody else. Most people are right around here, and there's one person that's way taller than everybody else. I don't know if that makes sense. If you wanted to change your intervals, you can grab this, and look what happens as you change your intervals. There's around 30, there's intervals of 40, we can go back to intervals of 20. This is what your histogram looks like. And a lot of this is however you want to look at your data, that's what you have to set your intervals for. It's all based on, in a sense, perspective. Now, since that one I'm going to consider way out there as an outlier, we might only want to do around 10. And look at this. Okay, so then this is our mode, and it looks like it's actually, look at that, even, except for maybe a couple people or one person here, but that's not too bad. So there's how you make your histograms.